I am Robert O'Maoilriain, Sonoma Valley Wine Critic. Thanks for joining us at Sonoma Sommelier Wine Magazine. On February 27th, 2010, 8th Street Wineries, a collection of wineries on 8th Street in the town of Sonoma, held an annual open house. 9 wineries there participated, pouring to a sold-out crowd, or at least a massive crowd, of both locals and visitors from all over the country. They were pouring current releases, pouring lots of wine futures. There was even a new winery debut. Lots of things happened. Some great restaurants and other producers there. A great time had by all. The purpose of this thing for me is to disprove that you need a giant chateau or a stone castle to make ultra high quality fine wine. I would argue rather that the best wines in this country right now are being made in warehouses or in tiny private winemaking facilities. Most of them are being made by winemakers who quit their corporate jobs, by grape growers who quit their corporate contracts and went and basically went rebel and have started their own winery programs as partners or and also a few other entrepreneurs are in there. So it's a great mix. Everyone's focus is to make the best wine possible, unlike the corporate model where the goal is to make the most profitable wine possible. I think you're going to enjoy these wines. A lot of them are exclusive and extremely hard to get. Please get used to ordering direct from the winery. Wholesale, the entire wholesale system in this country is owned by the giant corporate companies that the last thing they want is real free competition. So don't expect to see a lot of these guys on your local store shelves other than in a few of your more hip wine shops. So please don't be afraid to pick up the phone or email these guys and get a hold of some of their wine. I would like to get one thing straight before we go any further. This segment will only be about wines grown in Sonoma Valley, not to be confused with the gigantic Sonoma County, of which Sonoma Valley is only a small part. The wines grown in Sonoma Valley are as different from Russian River, Dry Creek, Sonoma Coast, Alexander Valley as they are from Napa Valley. There is no correlation between the growing regions here. We are a completely isolated growing region and almost as large as Napa. So are there any great wines today that I didn't cover? That might be one of the reasons why I was unable to have time to get to all the other AVA wines. I just stuck to locals only, had to say Sonoma Valley on the bottle. If it said Caneros, it had to be from the Sonoma Valley side of Caneros. If it said Sonoma Coast, it had to be from the part of Sonoma Coast that overlaps Sonoma Valley. So that's the guidelines. All right, so let's talk about who was hot. The internet and social media sites have been abuzz for the last 2 days with people screaming Tykate Cabernet, and I agree. My picks for producers delivering world-class wines on almost all of their wines were both Parmalee Hill and Tykate, with 3 sticks closely alongside. That means that 2 winemakers ran the show, in my opinion, on Saturday. Those 2 winemakers, Ty Caton of Ty Caton and Caton Collection, and Don Van Staveren of Parmalee Hill and 3 Sticks. Let's start out with Van Staveren. Don is one of my top 5 winemakers of 2009, and this is why. We'll start out with Parmalee Hill, owned by famous grower, vineyard owner, and vineyard manager Steve Hill and family. Let's start with something new to me. Could be the best white Rhone blend being made outside of France today, based on Marsanne and Roussanne grapes. Parmalee Hill Darcy, 2007, a blend of Marsanne, Roussanne, and Roe, stole my heart on Saturday for a white wine. I had all but given up on most of these Marsanne-Roussanne blends in the New World. Eric Ross makes a great one. Unfortunately, it's not local. Doesn't leave me with one to talk about. As good, if not better, than the finest Saint Joseph Blanc. That's French wine for those who don't know it. And even many of the Hermitage whites, famous wines based on Marsanne out of the Rhone, that are fought for by collectors. This wine will score in the 90s to mid-90s at SonomaSom.com when the formal review is done. Soft apricot, white peach, classic Don Van Staveren, supple mouthfeel and style. Next, Parmelee Hill Block B Syrah 2006. The roller coaster finish on this wine continues to push the wine to the head of the pack. Everything you want in a Syrah up front, and then the finish kicks in, doubles the flavor of the wine. Also, that blueberry fruit in the wine is kind of a hard to find catnip for me. Love the blue fruit. 5 out of 5 stars. It will score nicely in the mid 90 point range at SonomaSom here in the future again. A new Zinfandel release by Parmelee Hill, 2007, had an amazing nose with the Parmelee Vineyard trademark, this stamp of pomegranate just stamped all over this wine. It's the same flavor I get out of Saxon Brown Parmelee Hill Zin, but the Parmelee Hill itself is much drier than Saxon Brown. I found this to be a very grown-up, very polished Zin, showing more of that classic Don Van Staveren winemaking mouthfeel. That's what he's so good at, in my opinion. Parmelee Hill 2005 Nightcap, Syrah Port. This one shocked and surprised me. You know, I'm not always the biggest port fan. I'm sad to say I'm not a big traditional port fan. After a while, they don't have enough difference in flavor to me. New World Port for me fits me much better. This port is pitch black. The flavors are very dark and mineral, very deep layers. Just an amazing port. You know, a close to perfect wine. On the other side of the room, sharing the same production area and winemaker, but built around, instead of Parmelee Hill, it's built around the world famous Durrell Vineyard, which is so famous for Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and Syrah. It's located right next door to Parmelee Hill, but instead it's owned by Bill Price instead of Steve Hill and family. So, 3.6, 2005 Cabernet, Sonoma Valley, scored 94 points previously at SonomaSom.com. It's solid 5 stars out of 5 stars on Saturday as far as its performance. Bottles are always changing, so they're always a moving target, so you taste and you retaste, and you know, you don't just take wine for the first 2 seconds when you taste it. It really does need to be decanted. It really does need to be aged in different periods to understand what's going on. Please see my review under 3 sticks on my site for the full review. It's almost 4 pages on that wine, including lots of vineyard pictures. 2007 3 sticks Durrell Vineyard Pinot Noir. Probably my favorite Pinot Noir of the event. Elegant texture, packed with red plum, lots of that Sonoma Valley Southern Inn spice. 3 sticks 2007 Durrell Vineyard Chardonnay. Classic, perfumed, had the power and backbone of a Corton Charlemagne. That's another French wine. It's classic Chardonnay that it's powerful, but it has a lot of grip and backbone to it. Certainly not a flabby, sort of sometimes New World style Chardonnay. Next we'll be moving into Ty Caton. Ty Caton took up probably about half the review at Vino Livio, and I tried to keep from starting with them today because it's going to take some time. Alright, so on to Ty Caton. Ty Caton was one of my top 3 winemakers of the year at Sonoma Valley at SonomaSom.com, 2009. The wines just keep getting better. I want to start with the crowd pleaser, the current net crazy 2008 Estate Cabernet Sauvignon that's just been released. I expect the wine to sell out right after release. Just don't say I didn't warn you. You'll never see this wine in a store, so yes, you actually have to pick up your phone and call the winery. It will review somewhere between 95 and 98 points. It's going to hit classic range, classic dark ageable mountainside complexity, matched with firm power. This wine has captured the reason why the western side of the Mayacamas Range Mountains may soon be realized, if they're not already, as the greatest microclimate or sub-AVA for growing classic Cabernet in the country.